of women. This is the big historical news. The abuse of women and children worldwide. Even here, Ray Rice, Daydream Muse, to Syria, to Marla, to all the other children of the world, women of the world that are beaten, abused, and battered. This has become a sickness in the world, a very bad sickness. The children are put at risk. 775,000 children disappeared in this country alone last year. It's a staggering disease and illness that makes women and children mostly abused. Sadness of human life. It's a grief that I mourn the loss of so many children. Children that were had their heads decapitated in Syria, in Iraq. Children that die for nothing. And women and children that are beaten and battered and abused by husbands, fathers, dictators, terrorists, people who inflict wounds upon children and women. Needs to stop. It really does need to stop. These horrific crimes are not possible. They're not even feasible. You take and beat your kid with a switch. You beat your kid at all. I was beaten as a kid. It didn't do no good for me. It won't do no good for anybody. Violence against children and women is so far out of control. One woman is raped every 5 minutes on a college campus. Women are raped. Germany led the world with 150,000 rapes last year, of which only 10,000 were caught. There were thousands and thousands of rapes that go on every day. Spousal abuse. And never ever gets reported. These people are victims. It's a tragedy that the world we live in, and women can't report a rape. They're treated like dirt. Their child has to run to somebody because they were sexually abused or physically abused. It's a terrible, terrible crime. It's a terrible, terrible illness. And people who do this have to have something wrong with them. They're grown up wrong, been abused by parents, or whatever the case may be. In order not to abuse children, because they're the gift of life. Children and women are the gift of life. If they're totally neglected, abused, raped, and tortured all over the world. And that's the sadness of human life. That's the reality of human life. That's the fact of life. The abuse is so extensive that it covers the world. And it doesn't matter where you go, what country you're in, they have this. From their own hit squads in Brazil, they are in children in Malaya to fight in Syria. Sadness of human life. People take and abuse children and women. This has to stop. How do we know how to do it? By making ourselves aware of these people, ensuring and ensuring that they get caught, they get punished for this crime. Women should not be afraid to report rape. Women and wives should not be afraid to report abuse. Because it's the sadness of human life that I even make a video like this. I mourn the loss of all the children. 30,000 die a day of hunger. Isn't that enough? It's not enough. And we have to take our tomorrows, throw them out the window, throw them in a wall. One baby threw a woman in the garbage. One baby lesbian threw a woman in the garbage. Threw a woman and threw her baby in the garbage. The guy let his son bake to death in the car for 8 hours. Like a raw egg. Could care less. Drove around with the kid in his car. The kid must have been screaming out of hell. How many kids scream in the world? How many kids actually scream in the world? How many women actually scream in the world? You could probably hear it all the way around the world if you listen to it or listen more. That's the sadness of human life. That we've become a sadistic society that has so many abusive people in it. The world is going to hell. is going to hell for the women and children the most. And that's the saddest part of any war, or any household, or any life. Being abused verbally, physically, takes its toll on you. It demeans you, degrades you. Being raped does even worse. But battering children is such a sad, sadistic, sociopathic crime that's uncalled for, it's unwanted, not needed. But the question is, how do we stop it? How do we stop it from happening? Anybody who's grown up abused should know better than to do what their parents did. Because we're living in the times that children are affected far too often. The children are affected far too often. Women. And that's the sadness, the failure, the neglect of human life. To ensure the safety of their wife, their children, or the children of their country, the children of their nations. This abuse is unwanted, unneeded, but happens every single day, every minute, every hour, every single day. It's a sadness, greed, sadistic failure of human life. It's really bad. It's really sad. It's really disgusting that people get away with it. People of wealth, fame, and money still do it. It just goes on, goes on, goes on. Nobody answers. Nobody says anything. Nobody never stops. Convicted. There are pedophiles, rapists walking the streets now. According to the FBI, there are more than 35 to 51 serial killers on the street at one time. And that makes victims to late older children. Syria, Iraq, where it's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic. And people use and abuse children to live in. That's the sadness of human life. The grief that they leave behind. The grief that the child grows up with. Scars them for life. Scars them physically, mentally, and emotionally. And that's something that shouldn't happen. That's something that we all have to work to prevent. And we all have to work to prevent. It's the sadness of human life. Oh, that's fine. We've aware of this. But it's abuse of human life. It's a tragedy of human life. It's the sadness of human life. It's too bad that this has happened. It really is. The sadistic world we live in. The tragedy that is. There's no end. There's a beginning. There's no end. And that's in the world. That's in the basicness of the world. And this goes on. That's the sadness of human life that all people need to be aware of. So we have doctors without borders, teachers without borders. Myra was shot because she wanted to go to school. Teresa was killed because she was a 17-year-old girl, was a victim of rape, strangulation. I watch these things go on all the time. Forensic files, detective files, and other shows. It's just a slaughter of human life. It's a slaughter of human innocence. Kill your wife, kill your girlfriend, kill your own children. Susan B. Smith and other people like that. Never ends. Never ends. We're given women, children on earth, yet they're almost hunted, preyed upon for weakness. And it is the sadness. It really breaks my heart to think that people actually use and abuse and physically, violently attack children and women. And that's the sadness of human life. It has to stop. Somewhere, somebody has to, somewhere. There's got to be an answer. There's got to be an answer. What is the answer? It's being aware of what happened when you were a kid or you were abused. Remember that. Make it work for you and not against you. You'll understand what I mean. Never hit a child in their life. Never. Or a woman. How can people commit such atrocities? Say they ask for it. This woman has to be punched. That woman has to be raped. This child has to be bombed against a wall, or killed, or shot. No. We're killing our tomorrows. They're killing our tomorrows. They kill the children. It's the future of the world. It's the future of the world. Too many of our time. Way too many of our time. That's the sadness of human life. The grief of human life. The graciousness of human life. How can anyone hurt a child or a woman and then look at himself in the mirror? It's become a sickness. It's become a sickness, human life, that people abuse, trample, beat women. They did it in Egypt. You beat them and dragged them down the street like cavemen. Kicking them, socking them the whole time they were doing it. Doesn't matter whether they're rich or famous or just poor. It goes on more amongst the poor than it does the rich and famous. They're abused and battered and thrown out on the street. And that's where you get street people from. That's where you get street people from. The throwaway children. The children who have children that can't afford it or need to meet their drug habit. And they give up the child. The child's abandoned to the street. They never get a chance to grow up. They never get a chance to play in the playground. Never get a chance to play ball. They never get a chance to know their parents. They never get a chance to be an adult. Enjoy all that being an adult can bring. If you work at it. You work at it. And that's the sadness of your life. And that's the failure of your life. And I could go on about this for hours. I could go on about this for hours. There are millions and billions and billions and tens of millions of female child victims that go on around the world. And it's sad. It really is aggression against an opponent the smaller you are, or a child, or a baby. How do you throw a baby in the garbage? How do you take a baby and throw it in the garbage? No, it's a sad world we live in. There's so much sickness, so much illness. It causes the brutalness, the brutality of women and children. And how do you stop it? I don't have the answer. But we can start. Work together to look for the answer. And look for the answer until we find the answer. Be aware. Like I said, if you're abused, don't be an abuser. Don't be a user. Don't be a battler of children. Don't drink and drive. Because there are children on the road that get killed every year. This is something you famous story. It's the sadness of human life that I do this video. Mournful loss of pain. It really is grieving for the loss of human life. This is a 780 historic news for the abuse of women and children worldwide. It doesn't matter if it's Ray Rice knocking his wife out, or Adrian Peterson beating his child with a stick. People do it all the time. People do it all the time. It happens to the poor more than it happens to the rich. The abuse is so egregious. It leaves bruises in small bodies, female bodies. We as men should know better than to beat up or pound or rape or kill somebody smaller than you. There are children. There are flesh and blood. Why would you want to hurt them? Why would you want to harm them? It's an interesting question. The people proposing to these people do this for years. There is no answer. There is no answer. And that's the sad